Yeah, peace. What up? Back again. Basic basic foundation verses of the Bible, man. Basic foundation verses of the Bible. All for my YouTube channel, Brother Shum's Corner. Brother Shum's Corner. So there I video these topics that I do. So when you go on YouTube, uh, I put up a bunch of topics. So you can subscribe and Bible topics and stuff like that on many different things, on many different topics that hopefully you can get some further insight into what is going on. You understand? And some further insight into what is going on. So tonight, once again, I wanted to touch on many different things. One of the things I wanted to touch on was to recontinue Isaiah the 14th chapter, right? And in Isaiah the 14th chapter, so Isaiah the 14th chapter, which, like I said before, is what is considered a heaven and hell chapter, in the aspect is that it denotes what is heaven and hell in the Bible. This term heaven and hell that people get the wrong understanding about. People get the wrong understanding about that when they die, they're going to go to this Shangri-La, and they're going to, you hear them say, oh, well, my grandmother or my mother or my uncle, they're up in heaven looking down on me as angels and stuff like that. So these are religious denotations. These are the religious generic terms. They don't study the Bible and they pass that on, and part of their conversation, part of your conversation, you pass that on. But when challenged about it, well, where is that in the Bible? Where'd you get that from? You have no doctrinal proof that such things happen. But yes, there is a concept called heaven in the Bible. There is a term called heaven, and there is a change of state of high and low. So low is hell and high is heaven. Okay, so that's Isaiah the 14th chapter. So I was going over it. I did part 1 and part 2 in verses. So I'm just breaking it down in verses now. So we still we went into Isaiah the first chapter, Isaiah 14 verse 1, and we was breaking apart the first verse, right? And the last where we left off was and set them in their own land, and I broke that down, which was Genesis 12 verse 7. That's our land, which is the land of Israel. Genesis 2 verse 8, Genesis 15 verse 18, Genesis 17 verse 18, Jeremiah 30 1 to 10, which give you a great set of verses that show you that that was our own land. So now, if that was our own land now, so now the question is, where are we now? If the land of Israel was our own land, where are we now? Well, I'm going to try to use some maps to show you where we are now. Just got to work this a little bit differently, right? One thing they said is that a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So hopefully I'll be able to do this correctly. Where are we now? We are in Babylon, Egypt, Sodom, and Gomorrah, which is called America, okay? These are the terms for these places. For this place, or Rikers Island, that's another term because I am in prison here, okay? So I just want to use maps to show you where we are, right? So map 1, right? Hopefully you'll be able to see it. Map 1 was, this is the land of Israel, under the 12 tribes, under King David and Solomon. This is where we were. This was called heaven. So when you go to Lamentations, the 2nd chapter, it breaks that down. Let me read that for you. Okay, so we're going to go into the book of Lamentations, the 2nd chapter. Right? So you can see that we were in heaven. The land was called heaven. Lamentations, the 2nd chapter. It says, how have the Lord covered the daughter of Zion? So the daughter of Zion represents Israel. Israel was perceived as a woman, okay? Because the Lord married us. The Lord married us. We were married, so a woman marries a man. Okay, a woman doesn't marry another woman. A woman marries a man. That's the natural order of things. That just shows you how this world is out of order. Okay, so how have the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger? So the Lord got mad at us. Okay, the Lord got mad at us. So when we were in our land, see what it says? The kingdom under David and Solomon. Okay, so when we were in our land now, there's our land right here. Okay, close to the Mediterranean. This is the Mediterranean. When we were in our land, right, and cast down from heaven, see that? This land was called heaven. We were in heaven. We were in heaven. So here is a term showing you that heaven exists upon the earth. Heaven exists upon the earth. See that? So your pastors have been lying to you. Okay? Your pastors has been lying to you. That's why in John 8 verse 32, it says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So it's either truth or lies. So when you're listening to your pastors, your false teachers, your theologians or whosoever, Israelites, whatever, it's you have to deal with the truth, or else you're dealing with lies. And they're teaching you lies. Once again, the first time the word heaven was used was in Genesis, the 1st chapter, to denote a high state. Because the Lord called the firmament or the ozone layer heaven. So he said, when you look up, this shall be your heaven to you. So this roof is my heaven right here, this ceiling. When I go outside now, whatever is higher up, which is the sky, which is the firmament, which is the ozone layer, that now becomes my heaven. So those are some terms that the word heaven means high. So when you look at someone that is in a high state of being in this world, they are in a state of heaven compared to someone that is in a low state. Okay, doors open for them. Doors don't open. Pain, euphoria, movement. Okay, so the Lord said, how have the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remember not his footstool in the day of his anger. See that? So we were cast down from heaven unto the earth. So what is the earth now? So now the earth represents that we were kicked out, right? We were kicked out using maps, and we fled into this place. Some of us fled into this place called Africa, right? Fled into this place called Africa. So the earth represents being amongst the other nations, because now we're going to be in hell amongst them. They're going to control us. They're going to give us money. They're going to control us with their money, their laws, their rules, their regulations, their doctrines, their governments, their ways of life. They control us. They give you everything, and you have to abide by them. See that? So being in the earth now, that's how the Lord cursed us. That's how the Lord cursed us. Okay, so to this very day, as we exist in this country under other people, Okay, so now you're hearing about a stimulus package and all these different things and stuff like that. Okay, you need them to give you money. You can't create your own money. You understand? You have to go to them to buy land from them. You have to go to them to buy land from them. You buy a house, you still got to go to the bank. Okay? You still got to go to the bank for the bank to denote what you can and can't do with your house that you're paying for. You have to pay water tax, this tax, real estate tax, all the way up. So you're still in hell. Okay, even though you bought the house, even though the land, you bought the land, you got to pay property tax, this tax, that tax. So you're in hell. You are in hell. Okay, you just try to make the best of it for yourself as much as you can. So we still dealing with Isaiah the 14th chapter, right? And it says, where are we now then? So we are in Babylon. The word Babylon represents confusion. The word Babylon represents confusion. Okay, comes from the word babble. So when you're babbling, you're just running your mouth. A lot of people run their mouth about the Bible. A lot of people run their mouth where they say, well, I don't believe in God. I'm into spirituality and so forth like that. When you have conversations with them, because they don't sit down and study. So it's called a duck. You know, you move your head. You know, you don't want to get hit. You haven't taken the time to study, or you used to go to Sunday school, like this young lady that I'm dealing with. She told me she used to go to Sunday school and stuff like that. She used to study the Bible, and it's contradictory. So, you know, she couldn't take it anymore. She stopped going. She doesn't want to be bothered. And this is what people do. They'd rather just live their life, and when these conversations come up, they'll just quote anything. They'll just quote anything and say anything. You know, they'll say anything and say, okay, well, I'm cool with that. Not worrying about if there's any repercussions down through time. You know, since they have never seen the wrath of the Lord, they'll say, well, you know, there is no God, or I don't believe in God and stuff like that. You know, but if something happened, they'll say, God help me. Or the first thing that come out their mouth is Jesus. You know what I'm saying? The same Jesus that they say that they don't believe in is the same Jesus that they'll quote. There's the same Jesus, or the first term that come out their mouth is, God is good. God is good. God is good all the time. Really? See that? That's the first thing you will hear these people say. Anyone. God is good. Well, what about all the hell that's going on upon the planet? If God is good, why is he bringing all the hell upon the planet? You know what I'm saying? Oh, God is good for you. What about all the other people that's catching hell? What about all the other people that's in diseases and stuff, that's being killed and being murdered and being tortured, that's in slavery right now? What, God isn't good to them? See? See? That's why you have to sit down and study the Bible, man, to understand about this being called God. You understand? You got to sit down and study, man. So let's come back. So he says that he would set us in our own land. So I gave you the verses, but if we're not in our own land, where are we? So once again, we are in Babylon. The word Babylon means confusion. Okay, like a running brook, you run in your mouth, and that's what people do. Here in Babylon, this is a land of confusion. We are in Egypt, spiritual Egypt, because we went back into bondage again. Okay, we are in Egypt. And we are in Sodom and Gomorrah, because this land is a land dealing with pornography, homosexuality, lesbianism, pedophilia, whatever madness and sickness and morass that I, as Adam, brought into this world. That's a little something that I'll deal with at a later on point. But these mental diseases, I brought into this world as Adam. I brought it into this world. Okay? So you're probably saying, well, how did I bring it into this world? Let's go back. Let's go back into the book of Genesis and see what I did. Let's see what I did. So I take responsibility for my actions. Okay? Unlike my predecessor, Adam, who takes no responsibility for himself or what he did, as you see a lot of so-called black men do, and so-called Israelites. They don't take no responsibility for their actions. They'd rather blame somebody else and say, well, it's the white man, or it's the this man, or, that was because of slavery, or it's the system. They don't take no responsibility as to the fact that now you have a choice to, now with a computer in your hand, you can figure something out. You was given a choice to figure something out. Okay? So let's come back and show you that I brought this hell into this world. Let's go to Genesis, the 2nd chapter, and the 15, 16, and 17 verse. Now, Adam, the word Adam means taken from the earth. I go through basics all the time. Basic generic stuff in the Bible so nobody's confused. It says, and the Lord power formed the man, took the man and put him in the garden of Eden. The entire planet Earth was called Eden. And the Lord created a special garden, which was the land of Israel. Okay. And the Lord put me there. Now I'm just using me or whoever was Adam at that point, right? To dress it and to keep it. Meaning that there was already plants there. See, you got to raise your mindset. There was already plants and trees there. What it was talking about, the people, to control the people, to teach them. Okay? To teach them. It's not talking about cleaning, dirt and stuff like that. That's not what the Lord is talking about. You got to raise your mindset. There was already people around. There were people around. There was millions of people. But they didn't have somebody to show them what it is to be a God. See that? What it is to be a God. So somebody had to be chosen. So using me as an example, right? Because using me as an example, he gave me the God knowledge, right? That's why he says to dress it and to keep it. So I had to show the people, just like when he chose me years ago, in the early 80s and 90s and stuff, to get this insight. He chose me. Okay, I don't know about anybody else, but back then he chose me, right? And the Lord power commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. See that? So he gave me a law. See that? Or a rule or a command. Thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. So the minute that I broke this rule, death came into the world. Now, death comes in many different forms. It starts mentally, spiritually, and then the last form of it is physically, where the spirit breaks away from the body. Okay? So, mentally and spiritually. So once I broke it, right, all these different mental issues is diseases that I brought into existence. So mental diseases, spiritual diseases, psychological diseases that you see in the world, if you acknowledge that you are Adam, you're the one that brought it in. If you are Adam, starting with your pride and your vanity, you're the one that brought it into this world. If you understand the level of being Adam. Okay? See, so I don't pass it to the old Adam. I look and I see myself. That's why sometimes it hurts me when I study the scriptures and when I see the world, because I see what I have brought into this world that I cannot change. I cannot change the avalanche that is here that we have to deal with, because it is already in existence. You just got to deal with it until he stops it. He's the one that's going to stop the avalanche. See that? So the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. And what have we been doing from the time we came into existence as men? We have been dying. So all the different diseases of cancer, leukemia, diabetes, these are physical diseases, psychological diseases, mental diseases, disorders. of the mind came into existence because I broke the law of God. Let's look at that. Genesis, the 3rd chapter and the 17th verse. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast listened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee. See, the Lord didn't deal with the woman. The Lord never told the woman anything. He spoke to you. You, the man, is supposed to be in charge. Okay? That's why a lot of women don't deal with me, because I stand on my box. My box is this book. My box is this book. And he says, of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. So when you follow after your woman, which is in opposition to what this book is saying, the woman's supposed to follow after you. And if she's following the book, if she believes in God, then she's supposed to bow herself down to you based upon the book. Shows you how we out of order. That's why it's Babylon, confusion. That's why it's called Babylon, confusion. He says, thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake. So now cursed is this world. Look at the world that we exist in. We got to walk around wearing masks now to breathe, to work out. Now there's no kinds of mutant strains. Another dis-ease, whether man created it or not, another dis-ease is in the world that can kill you. So you are the responsibility where you were supposed to be in heaven. This hell that you got to walk around worrying about a virus and all this is your damn fault. Where you were supposed to be living good in the land and breathing free air and all that is your damn fault. Don't blame the Chinese. Don't blame this man or don't blame that man, because you was given heaven. You was given a land. You was given the best food. You was given this. You was given God's sight. And you turned your back from it. Now you under the white man. Now you want to blame the Chinese man that you getting corona and all this garbage. Now the white man got to give you a stimulus package because you gonna lose your job. Yeah, that's your damn fault. So see how we in hell? Now you can't touch nobody. You can't say nothing. You got to stay 6 feet apart. You got to stay 6 feet apart. But you gonna blame somebody else. But the book that you reading told you was in heaven, and you said, I don't want to be in heaven. I don't believe in God anyway. Well, now the damn white man kicking your ass. The damn Chinese man kicking your ass. The damn Chinese man kicking your ass. Like Donald Trump said, it came from China. It came from China. But you was a god. You was a king. And you told the father, you know who you told? See that guy right there? See that guy right there? You see that picture? That picture is a picture drawn from Revelation, the 1st chapter, the 14th and 15th verse. Well, that's an accurate picture based upon verses. That's an accurate picture based upon verses in the Bible so you can see. That's an accurate picture based upon verses. Well, if that's the guy, you told him to go to hell. You spat in his face. You punched him in the face. We did that. We did that. Because we wanted Caesar. You know who's the Caesar you got? Donald Trump. Donald Trump is Caesar because the word Caesar means president. The word Caesar means king. So you asked for Caesar. Matter of fact, let me give you that in the book of Matthew, where you told the Lord, nah, we don't want Christ. We don't want Christ. Give us Caesar as our king. Give us Caesar as our king. And you got him. And you got him. First, let's look at this curse that we call upon ourselves. Let's look at this curse that you call upon yourself. Okay? A lot of you voted for this wicked cracker. A lot of you black men voted for and believe in this wicked cracker. There were good crackers, okay? There were good crackers that fought for us. The Lord put that spirit on them. But why is this wickedness, why is this evil upon us? Let's look at the scriptures, okay? Because a lot of our black people are evil as hell, man. A lot of you so-called Israelites and black people are evil and wicked as hell. Matthew, the 27th chapter and the 25th verse. Then answered all the people. Matter of fact, let me read up above. This is Pontius Pilate, a white man, a Roman, dealing with the black God of the universe named Christ. And the governor, Pontius Pilate, said, what evil has he done? So he's asking the Israelites, what evil has Christ done? What evil has this black man done? And they cried out the more, saying, let him be crucified, because that's how wicked we are. We get together in gangs, just like your bunch of little sons beat up that little girl, about 18 of them. Beat up that little girl 2 years ago, stomped her out. That's how wicked we are. That's how wicked we are, man. And then Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but rather a tumult was made. He took water and washed his hands and said, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. So this is the white man who was in charge of us by the Roman Empire saying this blood is not on me. But you didn't understand what you was doing. You didn't see that the devil was on you, because the devil is you black people, father, man. See ye to it. Then answered all the people, black people, Jews, and said, his blood be on us. His blood be on us and our children. This is why we catch hell to this very day, and more of us is going to catch hell. You think you're getting away? You're not getting away. The prophecies must go down. The prophecies must go down. So if you don't get caught by prophecy, some other black person or of the tribes is getting caught somewhere. Everybody's getting hit with them prophecies, man. Prophecy curses. Look at that. Then answered all the people and said, his blood, Christ's blood, be on us and on our children. So our forefathers called these curses. So all the COVID-19, my friends is getting caught with this COVID-19 thing. They got a quarantine. One of my friends who I trained with, he had stayed away for the whole month because his mother got caught with the COVID-19 thing. I hope she all right. So he's quarantined himself. That's a curse, man, that I can't see this brother, man. His whole family got caught with that. I said, wow, man, thank you. You understand? These are the curses, man, that we called upon ourselves. Let's look at the next verse. Let's look at the next curse, man. Let's go into the book of John. Let's go into the book of John. It's really sad, man, what we have done to ourselves. It's really sad what we have done to ourselves in us thinking that we're so much better than everybody else. You know why you love the white man? You know what? You want to know why you love the white man? You want to know why you love the white man? Let's look at the book of John, the 19th chapter and the 15th verse. Let me tell you something. Be clear. Even though I may emote, I have no hatred for the white man. He's nothing more than a part of what the Lord has created. He's doing his job. The scriptures was created for you to know your job and your part and to see the parts of the play. This is John, the 19th chapter and the 15th verse. But we cried, away with him, away with him. We don't want to deal with this black man. Crucify him. Pilate said unto them, shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, we have no king but Caesar. You love white people. You have no king. You want nobody else to rule you but Caesar. You love white people. You love what they do. So now we are in hell. We are in confusion. We are in Babylon. So there it is. And there's many more verses I can go to showing you why we are here in Babylon confusion. Okay? So we still in Isaiah. We still denoting about Isaiah the 14th chapter, the heaven and hell chapter, right? So let's go into the fact of we are in Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's go into the book of Micah, the 4th chapter and the 10th verse, Old Testament. Let's see what he says in the book of Micah, the 4th chapter and the 10th verse, right? So where are we? We are in Sodom and Gomorrah. We are in Babylon. We are in confusion. Let's see if it doesn't say that. Let's see if the Bible doesn't speak truth, and everything that comes out of our mouth that is not biblical is a lie. That is not biblical is a lie. Be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion. See that? He's calling us a woman once again, O daughter of Zion. Like a woman in travail. See that? He's considering us to be a woman. So now we're going to give birth. Travail is now when a woman is conceiving. Okay? So men now, the Lord is waking men up spiritually. Different groups. People to see and understand the truth that's coming out of religions and stuff like that. That's not accepting that garbage anymore. Is not accepting Christmas and Easter and all that. So like a child, the male child is being born in the womb. So it's moving around in the womb. It's forming. It's forming. Okay. For now thou shalt go forth out of the city. See that? So what happened to us? In 70 AD, we was kicked out of Jerusalem. We was kicked out of Jerusalem in 70 AD. Okay? And Christ prophesied that if you go to Matthew, the 24th chapter. See, you got to know how to tie up the scriptures, precept upon precept. But you must also know history of what happened, of the nations. You must know the history of the nation of Israel. You can't just pick this Bible up and just figure it out. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You must sit down and study. Okay? For now thou shalt go forth out of the city. So the city was Jerusalem. Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 AD by the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire got tired of us. So they stomped us out. They stomped us out. Right? And thou shalt dwell even in the fields. So we fled from out of Jerusalem. Okay, as Rome sacked the entire city. And there is historical documents, Roman Catholic historical documents, showing how the Roman garrisons took the jewelry and the sacred things and brought them back to Rome from out of Jerusalem. The menorahs and all that. They destroyed the whole city. Thou shalt go even to Babylon. Wait, we shall go to where? Babylon. So now the Lord is calling this place called America Babylon. So you was in heaven, which was Jerusalem. You got the Lord mad. The Lord became your enemy. Matter of fact, let me read that. The Lord got mad at you. He became your enemy. Let's go back to Lamentations so you don't say, well, where did I get that from? That the Lord, how the Lord, our Father, going to become our enemy. Just go to the book of Lamentations 2, verse 5. The Lord was our enemy. Your own father, your own God became your enemy against you. Let me expound this. I'll do a class on this sometime. Some of these classes is very long. We have 4 enemies in the Bible. We have 4 enemies in the Bible. The first enemy in the Bible is yourself, because you are Adam. The problem started with you. The second enemy in the Bible is a being called Satan. The third enemy in the Bible is the Father. And the last enemy in the Bible is the nations. And they coincide. If you really study the Bible, you will see they lock up 1, 2, 3, 4 right behind each other. The nations can't stand you because God chose you above them. Your spirit is better than them. You are physically better than them, and you are chosen of God before them. So they became your enemy because you are the children of God, and there ain't nothing you did for you to become the children of God. Ain't nothing, you didn't do no Lord. God chose you and said, I'll make you my son. And the nations couldn't stand that. Satan couldn't stand the fact that you was going to be given immortality and rulership of the world. Satan couldn't stand that. Let me prove that to you. Let me prove that to you. Okay? Let's go into Apocrypha. Let's go into Apocrypha. See, there are many different levels of the Bible, so I try not to go too deep into too many topics, but certain verses I can give you for you to look at for yourself. Let's go into Wisdom of Solomon in the Apocrypha, Wisdom of Solomon, and see what he says. This is a good basic verse. It's very deep. Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter. Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter. Check this verse out. Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, the 23rd and 24th verse. It says, for the Lord created man to be immortal. See that? That's why you was called Adam. And he said you was created to be immortal. And made him to be an image of his own eternity. Okay, so a lot of people say, well, I don't believe in God. Well, then where the hell you got your spirit from? How'd you get to be alive? Can you create yourself? See, this is stupidity sometimes, and I don't get into these topics. Once I begin to hear people talk, I just move away from them. Because I didn't know that you can create yourself then. It says, nevertheless, through the envy of the devil. Through the envy of who? The devil. Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, the 23rd and 24th verse. See, the Lord is giving you a high level of understanding right here. The Lord is giving you a high level of understanding. For God, for the Father, created you to be immortal. Then why are you not immortal then? Why is it that you die? Because you broke his law when the devil came and tempted you. And made him to be an image of his own eternity. So how you look is how God looks. So you should be happy. You should be happy. Man, God looks like me? Yes. Go to the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter and the 9th verse. God is black, got an afro, got woolly hair. You should be happy. Nevertheless, through the envy of the devil came death into the world. So the devil was envious of you. This being in heaven, who was an angel, was envious of what you was going to get. Came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it. So that's how this problem came down. So remember, topic for another day, 4 enemies we have. 4 enemies. Okay. The first enemy is you. Once you conquer that enemy, basically these 3 enemies go away. Because now you have knowledge of self. Now you have knowledge of self. Once I really began to understand this book, for real, like, you know, I still got like little ailments in my body and stuff like that, you know, and, you know, if you want to, monetary problems and stuff like that. But as far as insight, as far as understanding of what is going on in this world, as far as being calm and like, whoa, okay, next move, chess piece, next move, watch how they move. This book, man, this book. You will not be surprised if you know this book and the pieces on the board and how he's moving the pieces in the unseen realm and how they're affecting the world and the players. That devil Donald Trump, there are many devils, man. There's overt devils and there's covert devils. There are many devils. They still devils. There's black devils, white devils, Chinese devils. They're all devils, man. Deceivers, liars. It doesn't matter. Devils, man. So there it is in the Apocrypha. All right. So I said that, you know, and I showed you the Lord was an enemy. Lamentations 2 verse 5. He has swallowed us, swallowed up Israel. He has swallowed up all our palaces. So the reason why we don't have nothing, the Lord took it away from us. The Lord took it away from us. He gave it to the other nations. That's why you always talking about go back to Africa. Go back to Africa. Where has the Africans ever said that they want you back there? Where's the Africans, the great Africans that you call yourself? Oh, I'm African. I'm African. Where have they ever made a statement on national TV saying, come home, my black people. I've got a piece of land for you set aside. This all your land. What African kingdom, Ghana, Mali, Libya, wherever the hell, man. Nowhere. Another illusion, another lie, another delusion that you've deluded yourself with. They'll take you back there. Some of you get your money, but they don't want a bunch of you coming back there. You're not that land is not your land. America is more your land. The islands is more your land than anything. You know what I'm saying? Your blood and sweat is here. Your blood and sweat is here. You've put roots here. You know what I'm saying? So there it is in Babylon. Now, how did we get to Babylon? How did we get to Babylon? Let's see how we got to Babylon. So we fled into Africa. Let me show you that. Let me use maps once again. So we was in this land. Okay. We got kicked out. We got kicked out of this land, Jerusalem, which was called heaven. In 70 AD, we fled down into Africa. Okay, we fled down into Africa. Boom. So now we fled down into Africa now, just using maps. Now we were on the west coast of Africa, and then something is going to happen. So see, once again, you must have pictures, and you must understand the history as to what happened to us as a people using the Bible to put it together. So now go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. Let's put together the pieces. This is why if you're listening to a pastor, you're listening to a lie and a liar. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. Check this out. And the Lord shall bring thee, the 12 tribes of Israel, into Egypt. Egypt means bondage again. Bondage means slavery again with ships. How did we come into here? See that? Ships. See that? Ships. Look at the picture well. So in Micah 4:10, it says we shall go to Babylon. Right? So let me drop back to Micah 4:10. The whole Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. See, I always thank the Father. Father showed me this stuff years ago, put together the pieces. It says, Micah 4:10, and thou shalt go even to Babylon. See that? So what is he calling America? Babylon, because Babylon represents confusion. You shall go to Babylon. But the question is, if we down in Africa, how is it, which is called Africa? The word Africa comes from Leo Scipios Africanus. Leo Scipios Africanus, right, which is a white Roman general that beat Hannibal, and his name Africanus got stuck on what is called Libya and Carthage. It got put there, right? And when it got put there, eventually the cartographers, map makers, put his name on the entire continent of Africa, which was called the land of Ham, okay? In the Bible, there is no word Africa in the Bible. It was called the land of Ham. So his name eventually was put on the entire, what you call the continent of Africa, and that's where you get Africa from now, right? So Micah 4:10, and thou shalt go even to Babylon, and there, so where are we now? We in this place that we call America, and America comes from Amerigo Vespucci. Amerigo Vespucci is another Italian. He was the one that founded this continent, you know, this discoverer. He's the one that founded this continent, Amerigo Vespucci. That's where you get the word American from. That's where you get the word American, not Christopher Columbus, Amerigo Vespucci. So when you call yourself African American, you calling yourselves after two white men. Okay? You calling yourselves after two white men. And there thou shalt go even to Babylon. So this place is Babylon. This place represents confusion. Okay, so now how did we get here now? Go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord spoke unto Moses and told Moses this prophecy, destiny, curse. 3 words. It's prophecy. He's going to prophesy to you your destiny, which is going to become a curse that you shall live at some future point. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. How? With ships. See that? So another word, another name for this place is Babylon, Egypt. That's as I said, with ships. How did we get here? With ships. All the tribes came here with ships. The North American Indians came here on ships. Okay? All the tribes came here on ships. That's another story. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. What is it that we shall see no more again? We shall see our homeland Israel no more. We're never going to see this place no more again. Okay? Because the Romans ran us out. They broke us down because that's destiny. All right? Thou shalt see it no more again. And there, where? In Babylon, and there, in Sodom and Gomorrah, and there you shall be sold. You shall be sold unto your enemies. See that? And there we're going to be sold, man. Look. Look. Let's look at it. Look at the slavery, man. And there, not the so-called white man, the so-called Jew, not him. And there, you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and slave women. See that? Look at it, man. Look at it. So this is all part of Isaiah the 14th chapter. Still breaking down Isaiah the 14th chapter. We're still in the first verse. We're still in the first verse. So that's Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. Let's go to Revelation, the 11th chapter. So that's just showing you how we got transported from off the west coast of Africa, which is considered the Gold Coast, because the nations made money off of us. Gold. We were black gold. Millions of us were taken from amongst the African nations, the dark nations, and sold. Millions of us. Okay? Millions of us. So, let's further move on. Let's go to Revelation, the 11th chapter, the 8th and 9th verse. The word revelation means to reveal. Revelation, the 11th chapter, the 8th and 9th verse. And the revelation came down from a black man by the name of John on the island of Patmos that Christ gave to him. All these things are true stories and visions that he saw. I'm going to start at the 7th verse. And they shall have finished their testimony. The beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit, which is the Europeans. See that? The bottomless pit was Europe, because they kept with all the money and all the gold and all the discovery, you know, trying to find India and tea and spices and all these different things. You know, so they were like a bottomless pit. That's how they set up the world banks. That's how they set up the International Monetary Fund, where the nations that they robbed and stole from, now you got to come to them. You know, whether you want to believe in the Illuminati and all this crap that you want to believe in, this is what all nations do. All nations do this. All nations beat other nations up and take their gold and so forth like that. Now the Lord is just talking about them. Now the Lord is just talking about them. And they shall have finished their testimony, meaning Israel, the beast that ascended, which is the Europeans, because they are the fourth beast, out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them. So they made war against the nation of Israel. Okay, so you got to understand, it's not talking about some fictitious being. It's not talking about some fictitious being that y'all But you know, when I used to be in the Roman Catholic Church, they used to draw pictures of some demon coming from out of the sky. No, that's not it. Shall ascend from out of the bottomless pit, and shall overcome them and kill them. See that? So we've been overcome, and they're killing us to this very day. And their dead bodies, look, our dead bodies, spiritually our dead bodies, shall lie in the street of the great city, which is called Sodom and Gomorrah. See that? We are lying right here in the city, in the dead city, which is New York City. Our dead bodies. That's why, you know, the white man can do anything, and we scream, we shall overcome, and, you know, we do a little rioting and stuff like that, and then right after 4th of July, we went right back into Black Lives Matter. What Black Lives Matter? We went back into killing each other, left, right, and center. See that? And their dead bodies, see, our dead bodies, meaning, see, I'm alive, but my dead body, meaning our dead minds, shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually, see that? So that's why I said that spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. Sodom representing homosexuality and all these things, which is prevalent in this city, right, and in this country. And Egypt, which means bondage, where also our Lord was crucified. See that? So this is where we are, okay? And I gave you Lamentations 2 verse 1. So right there, right, in the last couple of videos, I've covered Isaiah the 14th chapter from the first verse, right, all the way down. We haven't even covered the 2nd verse or the 3rd verse or the 4th verse or the 5th verse. So I'm going to stop right there. So now you know in Isaiah 14 verse 1, for the Lord will yet have mercy on Israel and will yet choose Jacob. I broke all that down in the first video, okay? And how did we get the name Israel? I broke that down. Why will he choose Israel? I broke that down. Go back to the videos and set them in their own land. I broke that down. Our own land, where our own land is, and where are we now? I broke that down. So that's some good basics right there for you to sit down, chew, and eat. With that, I still got Isaiah 14 verse 2, Isaiah 14 verse 3, Isaiah 14 verse 4, and Isaiah 14 verse 5. I'll pick that up at some future point. So with that, remember, Brother Shum's Corner. Subscribe to it, YouTube, so that you can get my videos as I post them, as I'm posting this right now. Peace. This is part 3.